Well, happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
It's tomorrow.
Oh my goodness. Coming up.
Well, let's see. Depends on when you get to watch us.
Yes.
If it's tomorrow, you may be, hey, stick it up. Yeah, hopefully they stuck it up in the kitchen as they're cooking.
Hey.
They might watch us, right? But
cool.
kindness is going to be a big thing for this next week, because that kind of goes into thankfulness and kindness and
when you have a lot of your family in one room, you have to choose kindness sometimes.
That's right. That's right.
And realize and cherish those moments that
Absolutely.
you do get to have, the sinful moments.
And if we remember last week, we talked about acts of kindness is love, right? Mm-hmm. And that kind of way it went.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that. And but let's open her up.
All right. Sounds good. Dear Lord, I thank you so much for this day. I thank you for everything that you have done for us. We are just so thankful for everything that you give to us, everything that you keep from us, and we just know that you have such a wonderful plan for our lives, dear God. And I just pray that you be with this message that you have, and just speak through us and let us be your mouthpieces, dear God, and let it fall on open hearts and open minds. And I just pray for all of the prayer requests out there. And I just pray that you listen to all those praises that we have for the wonderful things that you've done, dear God. And I just pray that you be with us for Thanksgiving and just bless that time. In your holy and precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, kindness, I did kind of look up a couple things. One of the things we just talked about, love and kindness go together.
Yes.
And 1 Corinthians 13:4 tells us that love suffereth. If I could even, I knew I was going to mess it up. Love suffereth long and is kind. That's just the first part of it, and then it goes on to some more things that love is. But love takes a lot.
Yeah, I think there's.
And the act of kindness comes from that long suffering of love many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked about this before. I think there's a reason that love is the first one.
Yeah.
That's in the fruits of the Spirit. From the love that you can put in your heart, everything else kind of comes out. That kindness can come out a lot easier.
Yeah. It's like the bread in the sandwich.
Oh,
the top piece of bread or the bottom piece of bread. One or the other.
Yes.
Yeah. Of the sandwich.
Everything else is just sandwiched in between.
That's right. So anyway, we thought maybe we would go through some stories in the Bible. And was you going to share something before I share the story? Okay, I think so. we talk about it. We talked a little bit about it, and it all fell into place. So I'll let you do that, and then we'll talk about this story.
So in Proverbs 19:17, we hear, whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord, and he... Oh, wait, hold on. Did I do that right? 19:17, yes. Whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will repay him for his deed. And generosity is part of kindness and everything like that. And we've been talking in Sunday school, in particular, about the book of Micah. But everywhere else in the Bible you find that people misuse and mistreat the poor. And in Micah, they're basically using them to rebuild the temple and make it how they want it to be. It's not even like a God-ordained thing. They're just
doing it.
Yeah. So they're being very unkind to these people and not showing the fruits of the Spirit.
Yeah.
And you had...
Yeah, in Chronicles 10:7, and you have King Jeroboam, and he is king of Judah, Israel. Let's see, I have to think.
Yeah, because Jeroboam and Rehoboam.
Israel. I think it's Israel.
Okay.
And but anyway, he has asked to be kind to these particular people. I guess it's like Jude. Just to back it up a little bit, during Solomon's reign, Israel split. Mm-hmm. Judah.
Right. Was it right after?
I think it was right after or during or something. Right after or during. Yeah. But you have Judah and then you have Israel. Mm-hmm. And so Jeroboam was over Israel, I believe. And he was supposed to be kind to Judah. Mm-hmm. I think that was correct. You go to 2 Chronicles 10:7, or actually 10. It's several chapters, and there's a lot to it. But he was asked to be kind.
Yeah.
And he said no. No. He said no to
Mm-hmm.
God. And then he decided to turn himself around, but then he turned himself back around. But because of his disobedience of not being kind when he should have chosen to be kind,
mm-hmm.
they ended up being servants under Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, sometimes we have consequences to us not following a fruit of the Spirit that we're asked to follow, kindness.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Of not showing kindness, and then that was the whole consequence of it. Now they're slaves in Egypt, when they could have been worshiping God and doing God's will. Instead, no. Now they're sitting in the servant spot.
Yes.
Yeah, and not just a simple, easy servant spot. Very difficult.
Yeah, they're in the position that they were mistreating.
Yeah.
So now they understand how it feels.
Oh yeah.
And God does that a lot in the Bible, especially with his chosen people. He never destroys them, but he shows them what things are like and disciplines them.
Yes, he does. We all get disciplined. We all have consequences to the things that we do or don't do. I don't know if you have another verse, but there's a couple other stories. 2 Samuel 9:1. Let's see if I think I had it marked. I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. But that has to do with Jonathan and David. Okay? So when God anointed David as king, before he became king, he didn't become king right away. There was time. But Saul got very upset with David and was out to kill him. Well, Jonathan was Saul's son, okay? And he was kind to David. They were like brothers. They loved each other. They were, and it'll talk about that in the Bible in Samuel, for 2 Samuel. Might even be part of it, might be in 1 Samuel. But they loved each other and they cared for each other. But during Saul's reign, of course, he was killed, and then Jonathan was also killed. Okay, and so at some point in the story, here's Samuel. Here it is. Some point in the time of this, David decides. He says this. Let's see. I thought I had it marked really quickly, and now it's not there. So, I did. It's right there. See, there's my marker, and it's 9:1. And David said, "Is there yet any who is left of the house of Saul, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake?" And of course, he had a son, Mephibosheth. It's a long name. It's a long, difficult name.
Yes.
But he was Jonathan's son, and he was crippled, and David took him in.
Yeah, took him in as one of his
took
own.
him in as one of his own. And I think, here is an example of, I am sure Jonathan did not show him kindness to expect something down the road.
Correct.
He showed kindness because they were friends.
Yes.
And they loved each other. And so in turn, David wanted to do something for the house of Jonathan.
Yeah.
So, and that was his son. And I don't think his son ever expected that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is an opportunity for kindness to get passed on.
Yeah. Well, and like you had said earlier, that David was showing this kindness despite Jonathan's father, Saul.
Yeah.
Trying to kill him at every turn possible. And Jonathan was not following under his father's rule, realizing that what he was doing was not coming from God.
Right.
Not.
He knew that, yeah. He had lost, God had taken his hand off of him, of Saul. And so Jonathan was very, very kind and giving and caring.
Yes, made sure to help David keep him alive. And
and it wasn't because, there was no ulterior motive. Sometimes people are kind for ulterior motives, but there were none here.
Yes.
And so the other kind of story is Esther. And Esther, of course, I don't know if you know, but she was Jewish, but she went into the king's palace to become the queen. and or possibility of becoming the queen. She did become the queen, and this instance it came that they were going to kill all of the Jewish people, which would have included her and everybody else. And so you were only allowed to step to the king unless you were summoned. Mm-hmm. You had to be summoned. Otherwise, heads off, gone, you're out of there.
Yeah.
But she, after fasting with her people, mm-hmm. she went, and it says this, and this is in Esther 2:9. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness from him, and he speedily gave her, is that the right one? That doesn't sound right.
2:9, yeah.
Yeah, is that right? Kings to the custody keeper of the women. Okay, that wasn't the one I wanted. That wasn't the verse I wanted, but,
I think her
she
kindness,
went to him. Yeah.
Her kindness towards the king, towards her people, he saw that.
Yeah.
And respected that, and returned that with kindness.
Yes. And so out of an act of kindness, the king's kindness, she came before him. Mm-hmm. I picked up the wrong verse. Oh. But, it's the wrong verse. But she came to him, and he gave an act of kindness and allowed her to come in without being summoned. Yes. And so in turn, she saved her people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that courage saved
her people, mm-hmm. and the kindness that the king offered. Yeah. There was a consequence because of that, and her people were saved. Yeah. And that's another story. But in short, that's what happened. But it was the kindness that was shown that created the opportunity for life to be saved. Mm-hmm. So you never know what your acts of kindness may allow, or get passed down or passed on. You don't know what it might do for somebody. An act of kindness, especially a stranger when you don't know them. Yeah. An act of kindness can be like the thing that keeps them from maybe taking their life, or somebody else's life, or whatever.
Making a poor decision.
That's right, making a poor decision. So kind of those stories kind of stuck out at me about kindness. Did you have some more verses that you wanted to share?
I did.
Okay.
Let's see. Where do we... where's this one at? 1 Peter 2:15. I think it's interesting that he says in 1 Peter 2:15, he says, "For this is the will of God, that by doing good he should put to silence the ignorance of foolish people." And I don't think you should go in with the intent of, hey, I'm going to be kind and put to silence
other people.
Yeah, exactly. But when you have that that pure intention of just being kind, people get dumbfounded at how kind you could possibly be in certain situations. Yeah. And it kind of stops people in their tracks and being like, what gives you the right to be so kind? Like I expect you to be fully flying off the handle, being totally horribly mean, but when you're kind, that kind of presence just silences everything else. Yes. And it gives
it gives such a good feeling. It gives such a good feeling when somebody is kind. The genuine kindness, yeah.
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 And then the other one that I had was in 2 Timothy 2:24. "And the Lord's servant must not be quarrelsome, but kind to everyone, able to teach patiently, enduring evil, correcting his opponents with gentleness." Mm. And we see in the KJV that the word gentleness is what is used in the list of fruits of the Spirit, but we know it better as kindness.
Kindness, yeah.
But kindness and gentleness, usually when somebody's kind, it's very soft and gentle. Yes. But we are called to be teaching others kindly, patiently, and, ignoring all the evil that happened. Not ignoring the evil, but but not paying attention, not letting it affect our kindness. Don't let the world make you hard. Don't let the world take away your kindness.
Which can happen sometimes when, you get a lot of hard knocks, and then sometimes the kindness doesn't always come out. But we need to remember that. Yes. Yeah.
So I think kindness, to tie into what you're about to say, kindness in any situation, any and all situations, sows these seeds of hope, of belief, of love, of that there's just something better out there for people.
Yeah.
And we sow those seeds in order to see the harvest later on.
Yeah. This particular verse in the Bible, I'm going to share with you. I'm not going to share the verse, just kind of the story. But before that is, I picked up a Robert Louis Stevenson quote. And he says, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant." Yeah. And so that threw me into thinking about Matthew, where they talk about sowing seeds, and you sow it on the hard ground, you sow it on the
and the thorns,
on the soil,
and all that stuff.
And then you put it on the good ground. So when you sow those seeds and you put them in the good ground, then they're going to produce fruit, right? And that's what we're talking about, is fruit. So seeds sown with kindness produces more kindness.
Yeah, if you try to have a mean remark, that's not going to plant a good seed in somebody else's heart about you or about God, And
I've always heard, if you can't say something good about somebody, don't say anything at all. And I think that's true. I think that's a little bit different than what we're talking about. But if you can't respond in kindness or something, then you need to kind of be cautious and careful of how you respond.
Well, yeah, and we're always told to, respond with love and kindness and all of that stuff. So if we aren't able to respond that way, that's not something from God. Yeah. That's our sin trying to take over and being like, well, you should be entitled, you should be, angry at them or something like that. So not responding that way is what we should be doing as Christians, and that's not easy.
And there are times when you need to respond, maybe not in anger, but you need to respond in an appropriate response. And kindness may not be necessarily not the way you say it, but you need to be honest and front the intention of it. Yeah, kindness. You can bring a message with kindness that maybe not be a positive message. You know what I'm saying? And
people may be convicted or maybe a little bit hurt by it. Yeah. But if it's still done in the kindness of wanting to correct people and bring them to God, I think that's.
Yeah, that's a fine line. It's a real fine line, because people can get their feelings hurt very easily. Yes. But anyway, kindness, pass it on. Yes. And this week is a great opportunity. We are in thankfulness. If we were to add up all the things we could be thankful for, I don't think I'd have enough paper to fill it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so spread a little kindness this week. I know last week was Kindness Day, but it doesn't ever go away. He doesn't say to use the fruits of the Spirit just for today or tomorrow. He said these are the fruits of the Spirit. Yes, right? Always. So that's all I had.
All right.
All right. So listen, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
See you later.